We are going to make a custom template to use with our AutoCAD drawing exercises 1 through 18. I'm going to also cover a few common standards used with layer properties, also using annotative dimensions, and maybe one or two other things, but let's just go ahead and get started. So I'm going to click on New, and if the AutoCAD DWT template is not already in your drop-down list, you would just browse templates to get it. Because I've opened mine recently, it's already here. So I've opened that template, and you can see that the file name is saying that it's drawing 3. That's just a default name. It is not uh, coming up as ACAD DWT, because when you open a template file, AutoCAD knows that it is not meant to be the name of the file that you're saving, right? It is just a template that will bring up specific settings, and we're going to make our own settings this time. And going up to the ribbon, there are panels for drawing, modifying, annotating, layers, blocks, properties, and so forth. You can change the look of the ribbon by clicking on this little up arrow here. And as I do that, it condenses the panels until they're totally gone. And then with one more click, it's back. So if you ever need to, you just don't want to have that ribbon up, that's how you would make it go away. All right, so we're going to go to Layer Properties. And if we click on this sun, sort of star-like icon, it's going to give us a new layer. So we're going to add a new layer. We're going to use a standard by making our layer titles all caps, and anything that's annotated will start off with the abbreviation ANNO. So these are annotative dimensions. And if I hit enter, that name is now selected. I also have some options here to determine whether it is a layer that gets plotted, meaning that when I go to print, anything on that layer would or not actually get printed. I can change the color, which our dimension layer is going to be red. Okay. The line type is continuous. Line weight, we're going to leave that at the default line weight. Transparency is 0. Okay. Now we're going to add one more layer, and this one will abbreviate, and this is our construction layer. So all the lines that we need to draw to help us establish geometry will go on the construction layer. We'll make that yellow. Click OK. The line type, it's not going to stay continuous. We're going to load a new line type. So I selected on continuous, and I'm going to go to load, scroll down, and select dashed. All right, I'm loading this line type. So now it's from, it's on my list of selected line types, and I will select it and say OK. That is now a dashed line. I'm also going to adjust the transparency so that my construction lines are not as bright. So I can make my transparency 20%. You can make it whatever you're comfortable with and click on OK. So those are my layers that I'm going to keep using over and over again during my drawing. The 0 layer is a default layer that can never be deleted. You can turn it off. You can change the look of it. You can change transparency, line weight, all these other features, but you can't ever get rid of it. It is just a It's a default layer that AutoCAD does not let you change. Okay, so we are done with layers. I'm just going to close this window. The next thing I want to do is get ready to set up annotative dimensions. So under annotate, this little down arrow, I call that a flyout because it brings up another menu, and I'm going to change my text style to be annotative, and I'm also going to change my dimensions to be annotative. I need to go back in here because there's a few other settings I need to adjust with my dimensions. So I'm going to go to Manage Dimension Styles. The other way that I could get into changing my dimension styles is in the command line. I could type in msty, and that would also take me to the same exact Dimension Style Manager menu. So for my annotative dimensions, I'm going to modify them. I do not want to have 4 decimal places. I only want it to go to 2 decimal places. This is under my primary units. And you see here, I could change units to be, engineering, architectural, fractional, but we're going to leave it at decimal for these exercises. We'll also use zero suppression, so any leading zeros and trailing zeros are going to be deleted. This window right here shows you how those changes are going to make your dimensions look. There's nothing else that we are going to change right here, but on your own, explore what these do. You can see that you have different choices for the kinds of arrowheads or end marks that you have on your dimension lines, but we're good right now. So primary units are all set. I'm just going to click on OK. All right, this is my new dimension style, so I'm going to set that to be current and hit close. Okay. Now, to show you what how this is going to change, I'm just going to copy and paste an existing drawing that I have. So one thing I want to show you, when you are making a selection in AutoCAD, you can get a blue selection box, or if you go from right to left, you get a green selection box. The difference between them is with the green selection box, anything that that box touches, that entire object would get selected. With the blue selection box, only items that are completely enclosed in the box are selected. And you can see a little bit ahead of time, see how these are kind of glowing a little bit. That's showing you what is about to get selected when you click. Okay. All right, so I'm going to select this whole shape and I want to copy it from this file, this free CAD file, over to my drawing file. If I use the copy command in the ribbon, that is only for copying objects that are in your file to another place in your file. Okay, that is not for copying it to a different file. The way that we would do that, again, I'm going to select it. Instead of going to the ribbon and going to copy, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to the clipboard. I'm going to say copy. Now I can go to the drawing. I can right click, go back to my clipboard and say paste. Okay, now this is really big. All right, so there it is. And this is in the file that has the layers that we just made. So I'm going to go ahead and make the annotated dimension my current layer. And I am going to activate my dimensions. Okay. And let's say I want to dimension this arc. Okay, well, it's super, super tiny. You can see how much I've got to zoom in here to see it. This is where having it be annotative will allow me to quickly resize it after, let's say I'm putting in all these dimensions. And let's see if this, okay. So let's say those are the only dimensions that I want to put in, but I can't see any of them. I can scale these going down to the right here. If I change my scale from 1 to 1, and let's make it 1 to 30, voila. Now I can see what those measurements are. I could change it again. Maybe they don't need to be that big. I don't know. I like that better, actually. Um, Now I have those at the right size. Okay, I don't really want to save this with the template that we're about to about to create. So I'm going to delete that. I just showed it to you so you could see what annotative dimensions are going to look like. So now we're going to click on Save As, and the menu that comes up, let me drag it over here. Um, the default is to save it as a DWG file, but we don't want it to be a drawing file. We want it to be a template file. So I'm going to hit the down arrow until I get to an AutoCAD drawing template. So I'm going to select that as my file type, and you can see that the location by default changed. Okay, so let's say um, this is this is my simple template. I could choose to save it to the template file on the hard drive. On a student machine, I'm not sure that you're going to have this option, so you may have to change the location and put it on your thumb drive instead. Um, we'll just have to experiment with that. I would say, to be safe, put it on your thumb drive. And if you have the option to save it in the template folder on your hard drive, do so, and then we'll see what happens. But at least you'll have it in two places. So we're just going to click on Save. The next menu box that comes up is going to say, do you want the template options to be in English or metric? We'll leave it at English. We can save all layers as reconciled and click OK. So this has now become a template. You can see this is, it says simple template. I can close that file. But now if I go back to the start menu and say I want to open actually, let's see, we want to start a new file, but we want to start it using the simple template that we just made. So then I'll go ahead and click on simple template, hit open. All right, so you can see the file name, it doesn't say simple template, it says drawing number 4, but that's because I am starting a new drawing using this template, as opposed to if I go to open and open file, and if I'm opening, let's see, it does not, I should have just kept my mouth shut and not even got, Oh, because it's only looking at DWG files. All right, so here we go. If I needed to modify the template that I made, then I can open the actual template. So see the difference here? Opening opens the template so I can change the settings in the template. If I'm starting a new drawing and I want to use that template's settings, then I go to new, right? So I want to make sure you understand the difference between going to new and going to open. And that is a wrap.